Counseling can be a wonderful job. With a master's or a PhD, a licensed counselor has a job for life. As long as you are pleasant, a good listener, and throw in some advice, you can get by without using any of the skills learned in college. I know of a woman who has been a counselor for over 30 years and does nothing but give advice. I petitioned the licensing boards of several states suggesting pre- and post-testing for maintaining a counselor's license. No state was for this. If you are a person who likes to excel at what you do, counseling is not for you. Listen to my story. As an undergraduate at the University of Minnesota in the 1960s, I was accepted into the PhD program at the University of Texas, in part by receiving a perfect score on the advanced test in psychology on the graduate record exam. After college, I got a job as a psychologist at Brainerd State Hospital in Minnesota. I supervised and trained 4 counselors with bachelor degrees. I created a program called Time Structuring to help persons with substance abuse develop healthy activities. This program received an award from the National Institute of Drug Abuse. I also created a Things I Have Done inventory to show that our patients were deficient in healthy activities compared with our psychiatric technicians. I created a class called Mind Skills to teach relaxation, creative problem solving, conflict resolution, and other skills. I was an ongoing consultant to a local correctional program, and I trained law enforcement officers in northern Minnesota on how to deal with disturbed or intoxicated persons. This ends the successful phase of my story. The chief psychologist at St. Peter State Hospital in Minnesota was retiring, and he recommended me for his replacement. The chief psychologist for the state of Minnesota also recommended me for this position. I was interviewed by a committee, and as I left the room, I heard one woman say, "He looks so young." I did not get the job and was told they hired someone they were familiar with. I've moved back to Texas and applied for several jobs, including a substance abuse facility where I made the second interview, but no job. I asked for feedback and was told I claimed too much on my resume. I applied for a psychologist position with the San Antonio Police Force. I received a letter saying, "It is impossible to interview everyone who applies." Finally, a job opened up evaluating the state hospitals in Texas. I thought I was a shoo-in. At Brainerd State Hospital, we sent out a 52-item personal adjustment and role skills questionnaire to a significant other upon admission and later 1 month and 6 months after discharge. As chairman of Minnesota Research Psychologists in Public Service, I designed a study where pairs of psychologists rated incoming patients and later repeated the interviews at their homes after discharge. I even created and chaired a 2-day conference on program evaluation for persons throughout the state. Brainerd State Hospital became one of only 7 multi-service hospitals in the United States to become fully accredited. Although I made the second interview for evaluating state hospitals in Texas, I did not get the job. Fortunately, I was able to get a job automating the tracking of 18,000 Army medical personnel at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. 2 years later, when I finished, I was told my computer programs saved 500 man-hours per month. This was in the 1980s. A psychologist GS-13 job with the federal government opened up in Gallup, New Mexico. Because I had worked as a GS-9 with the Army medical personnel, the highest federal GS level I now qualified would be a GS-11. The fact that psychology and data processing have nothing in common did not matter. Eventually, I became a GS-11 statistician with the Army Corps of Engineers in New Orleans. After being a database administrator of Oracle, I became chief of a small data processing office where we transitioned from 300 pages of COBOL to 30 pages of C+ and Oracle. I thought I could do some part-time counseling. I was told that I did not qualify to do counseling in Louisiana because I had not been trained by a licensed counselor and would have to go back to college for this training. After retirement, I wrote 3 books on psychology. My book, Counseling, a Profession or a Trade, was turned down by 30 publishers, now available on Amazon for the price of the printing. I recently Googled, who makes the best counselors? People who are introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging make the best counselors. You guessed it, I am in this 1.5% with this Myers-Briggs profile. The bottom line is that I could not get a job as a counselor with 96 semester credit hours in psychology, but was able to be chief of data processing with absolutely no credits in computer science. Some jobs require you to be good, and some jobs require you to look good. Guess which one applies to counseling and which one applies to data processing? Thank you.